Clara Maddox, 34, a behavioral psychologist returning to Pine Hollow for the first time in 20 years, after receiving a strange, unsigned letter saying, "Your father didn't die the way they said. He woke them." Title: The Night the Shadows Awoke, a dark secret in Pine Hollow. The town hadn't changed. That was the problem. Same winding road, same sagging houses, same dead-eyed gas station clerk who handed her change without looking up. Clara Maddox hadn't been back since her father's funeral. She was 13 when they buried him, after what the papers called an accidental fall into the quarry. The coroner said blunt force trauma. The town said nothing, but someone wanted her back. The letter was typed. No signature. Postmarked Pine Hollow. "Your father didn't fall. He was trying to stop it from waking. Come see before they bury the rest." She stayed at the old family cabin. The place had sat untouched for decades. Dust thick, silence thicker. Her first night back, she found the cellar door nailed shut. Too many nails for a broken door. Too many to ignore. That evening, she walked the edge of town, just like she used to as a kid. Same crooked fence, same rusted sign. Pine Hollow Township, founded 1869, obey the light, do not follow the dark. It used to be a joke. Now it felt like a warning. Later that night, she couldn't sleep. The wind wasn't right. It didn't blow through the trees, it pushed them, like something breathing against the branches. Then she saw it, from her bedroom window, in the field, behind the house. A figure, standing, still. It didn't move like a person. It moved like a shadow, stretching without light. And when she turned on her porch light, it vanished. Not like it ran, like it was never there. But the grass where it stood was flattened, burned at the edges, and something had been written in the dirt. "He woke us. Now you returned." Clara didn't go outside. She stood at the door, staring at the scorched patch of grass and the message in the dirt. It hadn't rained in days, no footprints, no signs of anyone entering the property. And yet, whatever had written that phrase had done it from inside her fence, just beneath her window. She grabbed a flashlight, turned on every light in the house, and sat in the kitchen until sunrise. The next morning, she pulled the nails from the cellar door. They screamed as they came loose, wood splintering with every tug, like the house didn't want her going down there. The stairs were rotted but intact. The air was stale, not moldy, sealed, preserved, boxes, tools, her dad's old workbench, and a single metal filing cabinet, locked but rusted enough to pry open. Inside, old maps of Pine Hollow, hand-drawn, dated, labeled by zone, one circled in red, the hollow, last known entry point. Next to it, a note in her father's handwriting. "They're not ghosts. They're echoes of what we buried. They wake when you remember them." She took the map into town. Most of the places marked didn't exist anymore. Streets renamed, buildings gone. But one stood out: the old meeting house. Locals said it was condemned in the 90s, but the map said something else. Final gathering, October 17th, 1998, 11:34 p.m., the night her father died. Back at the house, Clara replayed a voicemail from an unknown number she'd missed while walking. Static, then a whisper. "Don't go alone." Click. That night, her flashlight died 5 steps from the porch. Fresh batteries, tested, dead. She turned back toward the house and froze. Her shadow was still facing the field, still looking. And then, it stepped forward, away from her, independent. It walked to the edge of the burned grass, stopped, turned, and raised its hand. Clara didn't move. Her body stood still on the porch, but her shadow, now fully detached, waited in the field like it had been freed from her skin. The light from the house flickered. The shadow lifted its hand again, not in a wave, not beckoning. It was pointing toward the tree line, toward the place her father had circled on the map, the hollow. She grabbed a flashlight and a flare from the emergency kit. She didn't trust the flashlight alone now. She waited until her shadow drifted into the woods, then followed it. No footsteps, no wind, no bugs. The forest was too quiet, like it had been emptied in anticipation. The deeper she walked, the more she felt it. A hum beneath her feet. A vibration, almost imperceptible, like the ground was holding a pulse. That's when she saw them. Dozens of shadows, not cast by people, not attached to anything. Just standing there, still watching. Some of them were child-sized. Some towered like warped trees, and every single one of them was facing her. Then she heard a voice, not a whisper. A voice she hadn't heard in 20 years. Clara, her father, coming from behind the old meeting house now half sunken into the hillside, its windows blacked out, its walls swollen with age and something else. She stepped inside. The floor was caved in, but she saw it clearly now. Chalk drawings on the rotten floorboards. Circles, runes, old names, scratched and redrawn over the decades. A broken lantern sat beside a rusted tin box. Inside, a cassette tape, labeled in her father's handwriting. If you're hearing this, they followed you too. She pressed play. We thought we could contain them. The elders called it a cleansing, but it wasn't. It was a trade. Memory for peace. One generation remembers, the next forgets. But we forgot too much. And now they remember us. The tape popped, burned out from the inside. And just before the flare in her hand sputtered out, she saw her own shadow on the wall. It wasn't moving with her anymore. It was smiling. Clara didn't remember running. She just remembered standing outside the meeting house, gasping like she'd been underwater. The trees around her had changed. The path was gone. The air buzzed, not with sound but with memory. And then voices, dozens, layered, familiar. She came back. She opened it again. She wears his name. That means the pact is broken. Then a different voice, her father's again. Clara, listen to me. Don't let them touch your shadow. She turned. One of them was close now. A shadow, taller than a man, thin and twitching. Its arms dragged behind it like rope soaked in tar. It didn't lunge. It reached, gently, curiously, toward her feet. Her shadow flickered, began to move toward it. She stepped back instinctively. The shadow hesitated, then mimicked her exact step, but in reverse, like it was trying to pull her backward. She reached into her bag and pulled out the map. The paper now had new writing across it, written in the same red ink as her father's notes. Break the circle, or become part of it. She didn't know what the circle was, not until she looked at the satellite image behind the old meeting house overlay. Beneath the trees, now cleared, 12 stones, a perfect ring. She remembered the chalk, the runes. She ran. The clearing pulsed with pressure. The stones were there, buried halfway in the ground. At the center, a shallow depression, like something had risen from beneath. She stood just outside it, staring at the circle, when a voice whispered right behind her. You remember too much. She turned. Nothing there, but her shadow was standing beside her now. Separate, solid, almost human, and it looked afraid. Then the earth groaned, and from the center of the stone circle, something began to rise. Not fast, not loud, just inevitable. A shape, towering, featureless. A shadow made of all the others, and it spoke not with words, but with every memory she'd buried. Her father's funeral, the scream in the woods when she was 9, the blackouts, the way no one ever said what really happened on October 17th, and one final memory, her father whispering, "If they ever wake, don't run. End it." The circle trembled as the thing inside it rose fully. A shape stitched from darkness, faceless but alive, made from every forgotten truth Pine Hollow had buried. The shadows around Clara no longer watched. They knelt like it was their god, or their prison. Her own shadow pulled at her heels, trying to retreat, but something in her refused to move. She wasn't here to run, not like her father did. She stepped into the circle. The instant her foot crossed the stones, the air changed. She felt every whisper, every lie, every silent scream that had ever been swallowed by this place. The entity spoke with her father's voice, but only for a moment. "You know now? And that makes you part of it." But she shook her head. "This isn't mine to carry." She dropped the map at the center of the circle, and with it, every documented name, date, place, all the memories. She lit a flare, held it to the paper. It caught fire fast, brighter than it should have. The circle pulsed, the shadows screamed. They didn't vanish. They were pulled backward, like smoke sucked into a sealed jar. The entity writhed, shape breaking apart, dozens of human outlines flashing in and out of its form. Children, elders, Clara's father. One by one, they faded, until only her own shadow remained, and it nodded once, then stepped back into her. Weeks later, construction began again in Pine Hollow. No one talked about the ruins. The stones were never found. Clara left town. She doesn't speak of what happened. But sometimes, when she walks past mirrors in low light, her shadow lingers just a little longer than it should, and she always keeps a flare in her bag, just in case the night remembers again. You've been listening to Haunted Chronicles. If you hear music in the woods, don't follow it. Some legends don't fade. They just wait for someone new to believe in them. Subscribe for more true-feeling horror stories that never stay buried. Like, share, and remember, if you find Ravenwood, you were never supposed to leave. Haunted Chronicles, where every echo might be someone still trapped inside.